It is a war on the defenseless, on the voiceless. It is a war on the unborn. This war, labeled abortion, is of epidemic proportion and is waged globally. Over 55 million abortions were reported worldwide in the year 1974 alone. 64% of the world's population now live in countries that legally sanction this practice. In the United States of America, over 1.5 million abortions are performed annually. About 30% of all pregnancies now end in abortion. In some metropolitan areas, there are more abortions performed than live births. Comparable data also come from other nations. Yet society professes reverence for human life. More attention is seemingly focused on the fate of a life at some penitentiary's death row than on the millions totally deprived of life's opportunity through such odious carnage before birth. The Lord has repeatedly declared this divine imperative, "Thou shalt not kill." Recently he added, "Nor do anything like unto it." Even before the fullness of the gospel was restored, the enlightened understood the sanctity of life. John Calvin, a 16th century reformer, wrote, "If it seems more disgraceful that a man be killed in his own home than in his field, since for every man his home is his sanctuary, how much more abominable is it to kill a fetus who has not yet been brought into the light?" But what impropriety could now legalize that which has been forbidden by the laws of God from the dawn of time? What twisted reasoning has transformed mythical concepts into contorted slogans assenting to a practice which is consummately wrong? These slogans begin with proper concern for the health of the mother. Infrequently, instances may occur in which continuation of pregnancy could be life-threatening to the mother. When deemed by competent medical authorities that the life of one must be terminated in order to save the life of the other, many agree it's better to spare the mother. But these circumstances are rare, particularly where modern medical care is available. Another sympathetic concern applies to pregnancies resulting from rape or incest. The tragedy of this despoilment is compounded because in such relationships, freedom of choice is denied the woman who is innocently involved. But less than 3% of all abortions are performed for these two reasons. The other 97% are for what may be termed reasons of convenience. Some argue for abortion because a malformed child may result. The harmful effects of certain infectious or toxic agents in the first trimester of pregnancy are real. The experience of a couple whom I shall identify as Brother and Sister Brown is instructive. Sister Brown was only 21 years old at the time, a beautiful woman, a devoted wife. In her first trimester, she contracted the dreaded German measles. Abortion was advised because the developing baby would almost surely be damaged. Some members of her family, out of loving concern, applied additional pressure for abortion. "Don't burden yourself financially with a handicapped child. You're too young and too poor." Devotedly, they consulted their bishop, and he referred them to their stake president, who listened to their serious concern, counseled them not to terminate the life of this baby, even though the child might have a problem. He quoted this scripture, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him. He shall direct thy paths." They chose to follow that counsel and permit their child to be born. A beautiful little girl, normal in every respect except for a hearing loss that became evident later. After an evaluation at the school for the deaf, Brother and Sister Brown were advised that this child had the intellect of a genius. Now, some 20 years later, she attends a major university on a scholarship. When recently asked how they felt about their once weighty decision, the mother quickly responded, "Oh, she's one of the great joys of my life. She is such a choice spirit. Though she lost the sense of hearing, she is compensated with augmented ability otherwise. Why destroy a life that could bring such joy to others?"